The god of this world, Tsukiyomi, transports the human Misumi Makoto to another world to make him a hero, but the goddess of this world deems him too ugly and sends him far away. Tsukiyomi intervenes and gives him additional powers and explains he's been burdened by his past world and told to do as he pleases. After walking around the wastelands for 3 days, Makoto finds an orc girl named Emma attacked by a monster. He saves Emma by brutally killing the monster. Makoto is able to learn magic but after looking through his memories, he finds himself recollecting about Japan. Makoto angrily breaks the illusion. Shin then offers to become his familiar, but only if he signs a contract with her. Shin then transforms to a busty samurai girl. Excited to see what type of world he creates, Shin then teleports Makoto to her alternate universe, where she would live in, but now it's been transformed into the countryside of Japan. Makoto tells the orcs that Shin has been defeated. Shin then invites the orcs to reside in her village, in her dimension, which is now suitable for farming, but only if they work for them in the process. The orcs agree to this, and now Makoto has servants. Makoto is uncomfortable by the idea, but is interrupted by Shin's child, this being a mixture of both Makoto and Shin's memories, making him the father. Shin regularly watches Makoto's memories, and Makoto is becoming increasingly annoyed by this. Shin then demands they make a television. Shin leaves, and Makoto starts to remember that Tsukiyomi told him about his parents being born in this world. He decides that he should learn as much as he can about them. Shin returns with an injured dwarf, revealing that the dimension is under attack by a powerful spider, known as the Black Disaster, who has been cursed with unyielding hunger. Makoto manages to temporarily deal with the spider, but the creature has an incredible regeneration skill and is able to survive. Makoto collapses from exhaustion, and Shin is able to tempt the spider's masochistic desire and decides to remain with Makoto. So while Makoto is unconscious, Shin lets the spider create a contract with him, gaining a human form. When Makoto wakes up, he finds a new, beautiful, busty woman who gives him the creeps. The leader of the dwarves, Burn, comes in and offers to be a part of the village. Shin interrupts him and says only if they contribute, that being helping construction and paying taxes. He agrees. The two busty familiars want to have human names and force Makoto to rename them. Shin is now Tomo, named after a samurai warrior, and he names the spider Mio. The next day he finds a large arrangement of orcs, dwarves, lizards, and humanoid spiders, who are now all his servants. The next day Makoto finds a human settlement, so he goes to go check it out, but they mistake him for attacking the village, and they try and drive him away. This is because of his scary magical aura, with it being so intense that humanity mistook him for a Dark Lord. So Makoto studies the human language for months, but he's unable to do so. The dwarves create a magical ring that blocks his aura, and allows him to communicate. The three of them then decide to enter the human settlement under the guise of merchants, and enroll in the Adventurers Guild. Tomo and Mio set records being 4 times stronger than the average adventurer, but Makoto is rated as a level 1, weaker than a toddler, due to the ring suppressing his power. Tomo learns that a dragon named Lancer was defeated by a woman named Sophia. Tomo defends the wagon while Makoto and Mio go off to have dinner. A young girl approaches Makoto and Mio and says her sister is missing. This young girl's name is Rinon, and Makoto decides to help them. Makoto sees a picture of the girl and finds out she looks very familiar, with the girl looking similar to his crush back in Japan, named Hasegawa. Mio and Tomo are sent to go rescue her, but in this world the girl's name is Toa, and her captor is the current strongest adventurer in the town. The thieves' commander explains that a demon lord has been recently approaching the city, and a huge bounty is on his head, not knowing that this demon is Makoto. The commander tries to get the two of them to join, but by talking bad about Makoto, causes Mio and Tomo to attack. Meanwhile, Rinon is being forced to steal from Makoto, but she feels awfully bad for doing so because of how nice they've been. Mio and Tomo complete their mission, defeating all the enemies. The two of them wind up destroying the city though. Tomo is able to control everyone's memories, to think that the city of Zetsuo was destroyed by a horde of monsters. Makoto gets angry and sends them back home. He notes that Toa looks identical to Hasegawa. Makoto has to re-register in the new guild. Tomo is bummed out that she's not as strong as Mio, so Makoto sends her off to go train, but he does this so she won't destroy the city. The adventurers Lucina, being the elfin archer, Hazel, the human alchemist, and Renia, being the dwarf priest knight, celebrate their re-registration in Segu. Makoto wants to sell the ruby eyes to the trading company, but Toa tells him that she's heard some awfully bad rumors about the trading company. Makoto and Mio go to sleep. Mio expecting more from the night, but Makoto being fast asleep. The two of them go back home to see how the citizens are coming along. The dwarves give Makoto merchant clothes to help him hide his aura, but his magic is still too strong, and he ends up destroying the clothes. Makoto's magic happens to be growing the demi-planes even more. Makoto goes to see Rembrandt Trade Company alone. He goes to meet the owner. The owner's name is Patrick. being very dismissive of the idea of a level 1 adventurer being able to have such rare items, but after seeing them he apologizes, and excitedly tells them why he needs them, telling them that his wife and daughter have been having a level 8 curse on them, saying the antidote is the ruby eyes, but next he has to go register as a merchant. Makoto breezes through the written exam, which is simply at the level of a middle school math. The second test requires him to collect 4 deadly objects, but he uses a rule that allows him to substitute the items of equivalent value and replaces them with other items. Makoto returns home to the demi-planes, where he wants to set up a hidden portal to deceive travelers into thinking the demi-plane is a hidden city. He tried to devise a seduction strategy. The next day, Makoto goes to ask Hazel to assist him in brewing an antidote. Some adventurers start to follow him. The two of them make an antidote, with the help of Patrick's butler. Patrick tries to give the antidote to his family, but they overpower him, causing him to be badly injured in the process. Makoto offers to do it in his place. Makoto is able to cure all 3 of them. When he goes outside, he's attacked by the hired adventurers. The adventurers offer Mio and Tomo a chance to work for them. Mio takes this offer, this being so she doesn't destroy everything. Tomo is excited to take on all the assassins by herself. Before killing the leader, Tomo checks his memories and sees he's not such a bad guy. This being because he's doing it for orphan kids. The man's name is Lime, and he tells them how he got involved. They accept his reasoning, but tell him to go apologize to Patrick. Lime retires as an adventurer to go appease Patrick, and Tomo offers to start teaching him so he can still help out the orphanage, and also giving him a gift, that being a samurai sword. Tomo then goes to listen in on Patrick and the butler, and finds out the cause of all this is because the doctor was concerned about the Rembrandt Trading Company's ambitions. The warriors of Makoto's country have become increasingly less confident in their abilities after training with Makoto and the others. Seeing that this is his fault, he organizes weekly competitions to encourage them to improve their skills. When Makoto's party goes back to Sengu, they need new adventurers to replace the strong ones that recently quit. Makoto, seeing that he's the reason for all this, gives in and offers to train them. He asks Tomo to go train Toa's adventure party. Tomo decides to agree, and when Makoto leaves, she realizes that Toa is someone very special to Makoto, this being because she looks very similar to someone he once knew. Tomo goes to teach the party trap-based strategies, and this gets them increasingly more powerful, and they become the strongest party in Sengu. Makoto decides to go acquire the ambrosia blossoms, which are the flowers that the ruby ants eat, which would make their eyes even more valuable. He also decides to rent out a shop space from Patrick, who realizes Makoto wants to rent out rather than actually buy, this being because he doesn't want to draw attention to himself from the goddess or the kingdom. Patrick agrees to find Makoto a business in a neutral city that is not affiliated with the kingdom. Makoto goes back to his country to celebrate the good news. One of his spider attendants reports the status of his country and discovers the ambrosia blossoms in another world. Then one of his lizardmen reports to the progress of the military. Afterwards, Makoto goes to do his nightly archery practice, where Mio and Tomo notice that he's been dying. The two of them rush to him and express their feelings, and they come to the conclusion that when Makoto clears his thoughts to focus on the target, he's unintentionally merging with the surroundings and dies for a split second, which to Tomo and Mio is a form of suicide. As a result, his mana has been rising at the level of a god. If this were to continue, the goddess that exiled him to the wastelands will regard him as a threat and attempt to attack him. When Makoto goes back to Sengu, he meets with the world's version of himself, then is comforted by a prostitute. Enraged by this, Mio and Tomo take him away, back to bed. The two of them try to seduce him, not taking no for an answer. Makoto is able to explain the situation and flees with a portal. The next day, the dwarves are able to make even more powerful equipment to contain his aura. Mio and Makoto go to the Tanark forest to find the species that tends to the ambrosia flowers. From the forest, 2 elves come to confront them, the taller one being Aqua and the shorter one being Eris. The elves ask why the humans are in their woods, and they proceed to call them thieves. Mio starts to get very angry, and the prostitute from the previous night was actually an adventurer who's been following them to try and gain a profit. Eris and Aqua attack them with a combination of ice shards and a hail of fire arrows. The two parties run away. Makoto notices that she looks very familiar. Makoto is able to protect them all from the attacks, but Mio is still very angry. Makoto is able to calm her down by letting her have some of his blood. Makoto sends the human party to his country while he goes to talk to the elves. He captures the two of them and goes to negotiate with the chief elder. The chief explains that they're not actually elves, but instead forest ogres, and then he explains the difference. The elves draw their powers from the spirits. Ando, the son of the chief, comes in to explain they rule over the woods, and they maintain them. Forest ogres are the descendants of elves. Aqua and Eris would like to introduce Makoto to their master. Mondo is their master and comes in through the wall to introduce himself. Two of them shake hands, with Mondo having an intention to crush his hand to see how powerful he is. Mio becomes increasingly annoyed when Mondo gets a hold of his hands, longer than her. Mio attacks Mondo, sending him flying. Mio is told to go find out information on Mondo. She puts up her webs to hear chats, telepathically, about the demons. A spirit is able to escape Mondo's body and consumes Ando's essence, murdering him. Makoto recognizes this creature as a lich and captures it. Tomo comes to talk to the chief, with the two of them knowing each other, Tomo being the one that put an illusion around the forest to hide the forest ogres, being their master. She directs the attention to Makoto, making him the leader. The lich says that he became a lich by attempting to become a Grant. A Grant is a human that became a god and can freely roam between different universes. Lich asks how was he able to defeat him and gets increasingly angry after hearing the answer, causing Tomo and Mio to get very angry as well. Tomo interjects and explains that Grants were not powerful humans that freely traveled between worlds, but humans that successfully went to a new world, another world, explaining he had the concept backwards. Makoto, being curious about this, asks more, but she discourages him, saying that it's a suicidal mission. Tomo asks the lich to form a contract with the young master to educate him about magic, realizing he wasted his entire life for an unachievable goal, forms a pact with Makoto, transforming the lich from a skeleton man to a handsome young man. Tomo is mortally wounded by a supernatural explosion caused by the adventurers staying in the village. Makoto and Lich have the ability to heal most of those who are injured. Makoto comes across the fragments of the dead consciousness to see the final memories of his citizens, with each one of them hurting him more. He finds out the reason why the prostitute came here. Her and her comrades had a plan to steal all the magical items, and killing his kind followers, who didn't want to hurt them, killing the citizens and Tomo's child. Each memory destroys one of Makoto's rings. Finally, he breaks. The prostitute that was able to escape goes back to Senku, with the valuable weapons she stole. Being the only survivor, Makoto goes to pursue her, and mercilessly kills her in retaliation. Afterwards, he sees a memory of himself killing animals in his past world, remembering what type of child he was when he was growing up. After the funeral, Makoto feels immense guilt to the families about what happened, but is increasingly more distraught after none of them blame him or seem to care. Makoto pays a visit to Patrick, who has set Makoto's shop in Rosgard Academy, that being in a neutral town. Makoto wishes to go visit the academy in order to gain a better understanding of the world, the goddess, and humanity. Makoto decides to take Shiki along with him, seeing that the journey is going to be a very long one, and he tells Tomo and Mio to stay safe here, the two of them becoming very sad, so he decides to give both of them memories as a gift. As they prepare to leave, the goddess spots Makoto and intervenes with his teleportation, sending him to a distant battlefield, where two of his fingers get chopped off by a demon soldier. The two of them say that they have joined the demon army, also saying that he's the reason why they've halted their attack. The woman happens to be the strongest adventurer back in Zetsuo, her name being Sophia, and the short boy being called Lancer, also going by Mitsuragi. The three of them begin to fight, with Makoto pleading to both of them that he doesn't want to get involved, but the two of them refuse, causing him to go all out. Unleashing powerful hails of arrows, Makoto destroys Sophia's legendary sword. By removing all his suppressed mana, he shoots them both with an overwhelming magical attack. Makoto is exhausted from the battle and collapses, waking up to Tomo and Mio in bed with him. Patrick learns of the Battle of Port Stella, saying this was caused by the goddess's third disciple, this being Makoto, with him unaware of this. Shiki feels that the goddess used Makoto to annihilate the army and is keeping an eye on him. Makoto becomes very angry by this and is aware of what he must do. Tomo discloses that she used Makoto's mana from a discarded ring to create another fragment named Kamo, being their second fragment child. This one not having the same personality as the first one, effectively being a different person. This makes Mio enraged when Komo refers to Makoto as Papa. Makoto establishes his shop, with it being an instant success with the adventurers. In the Battle of Port Stella, the demons and human armies dealt a tremendous amount of damage to each other after he teleported away, showing the participation of two disciples of the goddess, this being the summoned heroes. His community holds a feast to commemorate Makoto's business, and he concludes that his future will look very bright. However, the feast is interrupted by another fight between Mio and Tomo, causing Makoto to reconsider. So that's where we're going to leave off on this video. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one. So I'll see you next time.